Okay, so see if you've ever noticed this, that people who are angry, they often appear powerful. Like they have the raised voice, they feel so certain, they definitely are intense, and we get the sense that they have conviction, right? They walk into a room and suddenly everyone's paying attention. And because of that presentation, many of us learned something very, very early on, and that is that anger equals power. But does it really? I don't think so, actually. Because when you think about the most powerful moments in your own life, the ones that really moved you or had an impact on others, were you angry? Or were you clear and aligned and really certain within yourself? Yeah. And there's a difference between those two. And I think that many of us spend years confusing those two because we then create a relationship with anger that is conflictual, and we don't really understand the power that we truly have. And we're going to look at those differences today and figure that out. Hi, I'm Leeza Steindorf. I'm an international leadership coach and human development specialist. And for more than 20 years, I've helped people across cultures understand themselves more clearly, navigate difficult emotions, strengthen their relationships, and really create lives and work that are aligned with who they really are. And one of the most common beliefs that I've encountered is that anger makes us stronger. Like if you want to get something done, just fire yourself up and get angry about it. And people use that as a motivator, right? And we believe that anger helps us take control and it proves that we care. We've also learned that anger earns respect. And often, unfortunately, it does, but not long term. I can understand why people believe that because anger traditionally is loud. Like you can see it, you people understand the facial expressions, the physical stance, right? It gets your attention. But getting attention and wielding power are not the same thing. So think about a time when someone became angry with you. Maybe they raised their voice or criticized you or they erupted suddenly. What happened inside of you? Did you become open and more thoughtful and ready to collaborate? Probably not. I know that I grew up in a home that was really full of anger and violence. And the last thing I felt was open and forward moving and wanting to collaborate or work with people, right? I shut down. I closed off, right? People move into protection and defend themselves or withdraw or resist. And when someone's coming at you with that kind of anger, even if it's not toward you, if they're erupting that way, there's fear. And maybe you'll be compliant. I'm not saying that that's not so, but it's not from a place of genuine engagement. And that's important because many people confuse compliance with influence. If I get somebody to do something because I'm angry, wow, am I able to have an influence, to have an impact? No. You've just really forced people into compliance. And that is not the same thing. Yeah. So someone can comply because they're afraid. And that doesn't mean that you have created understanding or a willingness to work together or to be in relationship. It certainly does not mean you've created trust or that you've actually initiated or participated in change. And this is where I think our relationship with anger becomes really interesting because anger often comes when we feel least powerful, right? I've said in earlier clips that I believe that anger is really an indicator of feeling helpless or confused or not really knowing what to do. It's kind of a catch-all emotion of "Arr!" Yeah. So I don't think it's the most powerful emotion, and I don't think it puts an individual into a power stance, into a place within themselves where their strength is. When we don't know what to do, when we don't know how to influence a situation, when something matters deeply but we can't find traction, or when we're hurt or overwhelmed or scared or maybe frustrated, yeah, anger can temporarily create that feeling of power within ourselves. It's feeling something which is better than the fear or the overwhelm or the sense of helplessness, right? Or at least we think it is. And those temporary feelings of power are actually very different. Real power, the power to change, the power to influence, the power to support and have an impact, looks very different. Yeah. Real power is clarity. And it doesn't mean you can't be loud and strong, but I'm asking you to consider whether anger has to be a part of that. So I think that real power is being able to stay connected with what matters to us without becoming consumed by it. Yeah? It's the ability to respond with intention instead of just knee-jerk reactions. And that gives us real power is when we have the capacity to choose. And that doesn't mean we don't care or that we shouldn't care. Just the opposite. And I'm not saying don't be angry. Yeah? Just recognize the anger, however you express it, right? In the previous video, I talked about different ways of expressing anger and our relationship with anger. So there's nothing wrong with anger. But what's beyond it? What's beneath it? What is it that we're really caring about? What are our values? And those are the things actually that deserve our full attention. So anger for me is like it's an indicator of something else going on, and it can also be a distraction. Like we can get all tied up in the anger, and then it causes ripples in our environment, and that causes more attention around that situation rather than what really is moving us. Yeah. There are injustices that are definitely worth confronting, and boundaries that we have a right to protect for ourselves and for other people, and defending other people, and values that we want to stand for, right? Those are important things. So the question is whether anger is helping us to do that effectively. I think that if we get angry about something, if it comes up for us, it's like a Zen bell. It's like, whoo, anger, what's really going on for me? What am I caring about here? What am I feeling I have no impact on? And if we use it as an indicator, it can help us have an impact on the things that matter to us. If we get hijacked by the anger, it can actually make things a lot harder. Because once anger takes over, we then lose access to those qualities, to those things that move us, that want to make that meaningful change, right? We lose our perspective, we're not able to discern as easily, our creativity is impacted, I'm going to say, or maybe even hindered. Often anger can, disconnect us from others, even ourselves. And it doesn't really open up choices. Yeah, it seems to be quite linear at times. So that's why I don't think anger is the enemy, but I also don't think it's powerful. I don't think it should be our guidance system. As I said, it's an indicator that something important is happening. Yeah, something matters to me. And it's something that we want to create an outcome around. So once we understand that, then we can stop chasing that feeling of power, that temporary feeling of that anger can offer us, and begin developing a real sense of strength and self-leadership within ourselves. Yeah. So if this speaks to you, if you want to try it out, just see what the difference might be. As a practice this week, you can notice the next time anger shows up, just ask yourself, do I feel powerful right now? Or do I feel powerless? And want things to be different, but don't know how right now. Just be curious about that answer. You don't have to change a thing. Awareness, becoming aware, being students of ourselves is the first step really in making any change that we want to make or that is possible for us. All right? So if this conversation was useful to you, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel, because then you'll know when other video clips come out. And this series especially is going to build upon one another. And in the next video, we're going to talk about what lives underneath the anger and why helplessness and overwhelm and uncertainty. Why is it that they wear that anger as a disguise? Like, why is that the direction that they go? Because once we understand what's underneath the anger itself starts making a lot more sense and starts to lose its control, its power over us. All right? And clarity will almost always take you much farther down the road than anger ever could. And that's something that I stand for, and I'm wanting to share with you all. So thank you for being here. Until next time, be well.